And we're live. So, good evening to all the people who have joined us today. And we're back after a long time for our 11th episode. And today we have with us none other than Mr. Atul Wassan. He's played for India, he's played for Delhi, and he's been a cricket commentator ever since. And his contribution to the game is immense. And I feel I would really have a good time with him talking about cricket, as that is something he does very well. So, first of all, welcome, sir. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
this
Thank
episode,
you. How are you doing?
and hope you're doing well at this time when the world
Yeah,
is in
yeah. I
emergency.
just now most of the people are used to it, and we're just hoping. And as players and former players, we are very optimistic people. We're not pessimistic. So when I meet some other people, my friends and all, who have not played any sport, they feel that they are really down and all. But sports teaches you a lot because one day you lose, the next day you still get up fresh, and you want to go to the ground to win. This kind of habit you carry on in the life. So I think it's not been as bad as situation for me as it's been for other people.
Right. Before we move on to the questions, I wanted to continue on this. So, do you think, yeah, being in sports and being around cricket has helped you more in this time when you have more optimism towards
Yeah,
life?
as I said, cricket is or any sport is like a wonderful metaphor for life. There is no linear line in your life. The ups and downs are there, and people who actually cannot handle the downs will not be able to enjoy the ups also. And you got to be ready because when you're up, you be ready for the down, and when you're down, it's not gonna stay down. So you can't just get over excited about things when you are up, and you should not go over down because this is what life is. Unless you've experienced the downs, you will not be able to enjoy the ups also. And this is probably a down where everybody is in the same boat. But this won't last. There have been bigger problems in the world before this. You can imagine the generation who were born in the early part of the century. They went through the Great Depression, 1930. They went through the First World War. They went through the Second World War. They went through the Spanish flu. In India, people went through partition pains, and we call ourselves unlucky. Just for 6 8 months, you were not able to live your life. So I guess people should put things in perspective, and this too shall pass.
Great, great. Coming to the topic we have today, sir. First of all, I would want to ask how your journey in the sport began and what attracted you towards this sport. So, how did a young boy start playing cricket?
I think when we talk about my journey to what the current scenario in sport is totally different, and if I compare my journey to maybe people who came before me, compared to Bishan Singh Bedis and Gavaskars and all, and even before that CK Naidu and Manjrekar and Merchants and all, it's totally different. People picked up sport in those days because of pure love for the sport. Uh, by the time I played cricket, I started playing because everybody. I am from the first World Cup win generation. 1983. I saw the World Cup and we won the World Cup. And I was 13, 14 years old. I said, okay, this is a sport. We can be world champion. Let me start this. And God had given me a height and some build because we are from North India, so started bowling fast. And you go on from there. And suddenly, when you enter a sport seriously at that age, and then you go into formal coaching and all, and people tell you that okay, yeah, you can play. So that time your aim becomes that okay, I want to play for the country. Now maybe when I see, as I'm a selector now and I go to a lot of coaching camps, and I interact with a lot of youngsters, the focus somewhat has primarily changed to being very commercial because of IPL. So players see the glamour and the money and the fame and the adulation in IPL. So somehow I'm feeling that the charm and the aim of playing for the country is slightly diluted in the youngsters because they get swayed by the money and the fame which you can get in IPL, which is the wrong way. Because for us to get the India cap was the main reason. I mean, money was second, good lifestyle was a third, and getting a job was a fourth. And you thought, once you're an international sportsman, you're traveling, living in hotels, playing in Australia, New Zealand, wherever, and that is a life of a king. Money also was there because there was no shortage of money. You can't say that the players, even I remember we went to Australia. My first tour was Australia, New Zealand in 1990. And Kapil Dev was there, Azharuddin was the captain, Sarkar was there, Ravi Shastri, all the big stars were there.
Team of
And
greats.
everybody got paid 50,000 rupees for 2 months of tour. And if Kapil Dev was happy with 50,000 rupees, I must be over the moon. And that time, so So, but nobody actually thought about it. If this would have happened today, there'll be a big hue and cry about how the newcomers and the youngsters getting the same amount of money. So the environment of this money has come into the game because of IPL, and before IPL also the Tendulkar era. Also Tendulkar, because of Tendulkar, a lot of commercialization came into the sport. The sport became very popular, and somewhat cricket pushed hockey and other sport at the background and took the major chunk of revenue in India. And that late mid 90s to late 90s to early 2000, when Saurav Ganguly, Yuvraj started playing and all that, and that's Savinder Sehwag. So the real money came in there. But after the IPL, we know that even a guy who's not even played for the state is making 10 crores. Even you ask for Bishan Singh Bedi, and he played captain for India, played 12 years of county cricket, 15 years of Indian team, captain of this and that. And if you look at his bank balance, he would have paid maybe 50 lakh rupees in his whole life.
Yeah.
So compared to that, but that's what I tell all the players. They used to be good student of the game, because you have reached here, and you can't disregard the people who got you here. It is a timeline. It doesn't mean that you are a better player or a bigger person. You are getting the rewards because of these people put in the years, and we are part of the journey, and you have come here. So, just because they made less money than you, less popular than you, have less followers on Instagram, doesn't make you a better player or a better person.
Right. Also, you mentioned Bishan Singh Bedi, sir, and he very openly, he feels IPL is not the correct path for an Indian cricketer, and he does not really like the concept of the IPL. And this is something I've seen commonly in the players of your generation, if I could say, or even before your generation, before you started playing. So, what is your stand on that? Do you think it is because IPL has given some of the good players that are playing in the team today, like for example, Bumrah is a product of the IPL. So, what is your stand on that? Do you think it is a boon or a bane for Indian cricket
Yeah,
or
very good
cricket?
example. Very good example of Bumrah. Bumrah is somebody who you can say that he's a product of IPL because
Yes.
of his unorthodox style of bowling and all. Probably if IPL wouldn't have come, and in the normal structure of cricket, he wouldn't have been pushed to
He
play for
did.
the state and
He
all.
has played more international test matches than domestic test matches. He's
Yes,
played
exactly.
five
So, yeah.
domestic
So I can
runs.
imagine, because so this is the beauty of IPL. I've got nothing against it. I think this was the right injection for cricket to take it to the levels we are seeing right now, and it is identifying talent. Early days of IPL, selectors got a bit carried away, and got excited by looking at a couple of players and picking them for the Indian team with IPL performances, and they were big failures. And they didn't realize that IPL can only showcase talent. A good T20 player cannot be a good one-day player, cannot be a test player. But the other way around we can say that it can happen. A good test player can become a good one-day player, can become a T20 player, because he has got the basic raw material, the building blocks of his game is there. IPL is only one dimension of the game. So if you see a player in IPL and suddenly say he's a good cricket player, sorry, you'll be disappointed. I mean, for example, I can say Paul Valthati was a guy
Yeah,
who got, suddenly, but he was
100.
only a T20 player. So you have to see a player and watch him, and if he's something special, then watch him in domestic cricket. Let him go through the hard grind of domestic cricket, day in and day out, 5 days. How is his body holding up? And then bring him that way. And this is what is happening now. So Indian cricket has matured a lot, but I think IPL, Bishan Singh Bedi's view is that it is corrupting the young players. At my point again, because they lose the focus of representing India, and somehow, sadly, the importance of Test cricket is also going down. And we are from the earlier generation, because Test cricket is the real cricket for us. If I have to judge a player, I will look at his Test record, and then maybe his one-day record. T20 record, I will not judge or adulate a player as a former player, because all the players also know that they have got all the Test numbers and all that, but they know that the respect in the other cricketers' eyes is only because of Test cricket, because that is the real test. But cricket, I would not say IPL is cricket. IPL is a product where cricket is part of the product. So you have to see it with those eyes only. If you compare cricket with IPL and all that, you'll be disappointed, because the guy is trying to hit over mid wicket, he gets an outside edge, ball goes to third man, everybody is shouting wow, and he's getting number. So this is not cricket. Earlier on, players used to play across the line, get an outside edge. Even if they get a boundary, they used to apologize, because they used to be embarrassed that I played a false shot, and that was a moral victory for the bowler. But in T20, everything is coming. So this is the point where maybe the former players, the purists, the romanticism of the game is diluted because people are just so. If I'm an older player, I would suggest to Bishan Paji and that generation to just see this kind of cricket with totally different eyes. Don't see compare it with Test cricket or the older cricket generation. Just look at it as a product that it's like like a blockbuster movie. Like you watch Sholay in 70 and then you watch a web series sitting at home. It's not the same. You can't say it's art. That was art. But if you were getting entertained for a few hours in web series, well, that's the point.
Right. Even you were discussing how it was in the older days that if you get an outside edge, you have to apologize. So I also wanted to get into your initial days. You were a part of Sunette Academy, and I was actually listening to a podcast in which Akash Chopra sir was there, and he was telling about this legacy that Sunette has of getting 11 to 12 players who have played for the country. And he mentioned Ustad Tarak Sinha, who I guess has coached you as well. So, what was the secret sauce that is there in Sunette? That because even Acharekar sir, who was the coach of Sachin Tendulkar and Vinod Kambli, got two players to play for India, and Tarak sir, Ustad Tarak sir, got 11 to 12 players to play for India. So, what was the secret sauce that this
I
happened?
think I remember somebody taking me to him when I was 14. And he says, sir, this guy plays for this school, and my school didn't have a cricket culture. And he said, okay, you come to the club. And we used to play in Ajmal Khan Park. And, I realized that that club had the have-nots. And we were always up against NIS, which had beautiful cricket facilities at India Gate, and they had fabulous nets and all, and a lot of rich kids used to go there, coming out of the cars, and our guys were making the ground ourselves, rubbing the sound, and one bucket of water for 70 kids, just one glass, and when we used to always beat them, our thing was that we don't have any facilities, but that actually gave us the right kind of values where we actually really took it in our pride that we have to succeed. And even when we used to go for state trials and under 15, under 19, they used to be given preference because they were sons of bureaucrats or something. And, so that they had some kind of sway and we had to really fight for it. So that kind of, siege mentality got into Sonnet, and that you have to prove yourself against the odds. And that was more sweeter. As slowly, Delhi Ranji Trophy team was dominated by Sonnet Club. We almost had 7 or 8 players at one time. So and slowly, and that the numbers came because of Raman Lamba. It started
Who
early.
was
Ajay
there
Sharma,
Yeah, yeah.
Ajay Sharma, Sanjeev Sharma. These are the early guys. Surinder Khanna was from our club, who was the senior most player. Ranveer Singh was another guy who went on England tour. So we used to hear their stories, and we used to say, from our club, from these humble backgrounds, there are players playing for India. And suddenly we also thought, and then I got into the Ranji Trophy team. Suddenly 2-3 years after the grind, Bhaskar Pille, unfortunately didn't play for the Manu Nair was there, Mantu Singh was there. So there were 7-8, and then our club, all the players used to graduate school, and we all used to go to a DV college because the structure was that from the school's cricket you have to be in the Delhi University team to be called for the Delhi Ranji Trophy team. Unfortunately,
Okay.
that system has broken down because under 19 players are straight away going to Ranji Trophy team. But that time you could not bridge that gap unless you were like exception like Marinder Singh, who started playing for Delhi when he was 16 or somebody like that. But so our thing was, I joined SRCC and I thought they will lose in the first round. And if you lose in the inter-college first round, how will you get in the Delhi University team? So I shifted to DV College, where all the Sonnet boys was there. And we became champions. I got into Delhi University team. Then I led Delhi University. I got into the Delhi Ranji Trophy team. So, so this was the progression. And then Sonnet was a nursery which took, held you by the hand and took you through under 19, under 15, university, then Ranji Trophy. And after that, you have to perform to get into the Indian team. And he was selfless, man. I mean, Tarak Sinha is, and a lot of players. Even Shikhar Dhawan is basically coming from there. But now Virat Kohli, even Rajkumar Sharma, who's my very dear friend, he's Virat's coach. And he started his own academy, which I became the patron when I had retired and he had retired. So he started, and Virat Kohli is his product. But you can see he is from that nursery of Sonnet, because Rajkumar was from Sonnet, and then Virat is from Rajkumar. So this is how the legacy and the baton is handed forward.
Right, right. So after you started playing for Delhi, when did that break happen? The one in which you got to know about that you selected for India, and how was that that debut experience when you were playing with two of your idols, as you've mentioned time and again,
Yeah.
Kapil Dev, and playing against Richard Hartley. So how was that
Yeah,
experience?
yeah, I had these three huge posters in my room. Kapil Dev, Richard Hadley, and Ian Botham, and I used to worship them. And I must have seen the 1981 Botham's Ashes, it is called, and
Yeah.
and then that we used to have those VHS tapes, and I must have seen it 50 times, and the tape got worn off. But I got in the team. Delhi was a very tough side to get into the 11, and we had Manoj Prabhakar. Manoj Prabhakar is somebody from our club also. So
Yeah.
Manoj Prabhakar was a fast bowler. Madan Lal was there. Sunil Walson was there. Sanjeev Sharma was there. And Jaspal Singh was another guy. So it was like a huge list you have to go through. So I just was in the team in and out for first 2 years. But by that time, I started playing in England as a professional because I thought summers I should not waste there. And that built up my stamina because I used to play like maybe 35, 40 games in 5 months in the season there, live on my own. I learned a lot. And every game on a Saturday and Sunday, I used to bowl 26 overs without a break because it was a 53 over game. So
In
26
county.
overs from one side, yeah, in the minor counties. So I used to bowl the first over and the 53rd over. So 27 overs I was bowling every day. So that built up my stamina and speed and all. And there I got the chance to bat because here I used to bat at number 11. There as a professional, they make you bat at number 4 or 5. So that, and then when they pay you, you're expected to win matches for them. And if you don't win, then these goras are very, professionals. They used to, taunt you that you are making money a pro. Why aren't you earning your money and all that? So that got that attitude that you got to deliver value for money. And when I came back and I was waiting my chance, suddenly the slot opened up. Sunil Walson was dropped from the team. I think one guy, Manoj Prabhakar, was missing one game, and we had to play a game in Bombay, which was the Irani Trophy game. I remember just before the tour of Pakistan. So Madan was the captain, and when we were discussing that this guy's name, because Sachin Tendulkar was supposed to play that game, so we discussed about him, and I played that game, and I bowled well, and I became the first standby on the tour of 1989 Pakistan tour. I was supposed to win the team, but Salil Ankola and Vivek Razdan got picked ahead of me. Everybody wonders why, because they didn't even play that game. But that was because of MRF had a lot of clout in the selection of Indian team then, and I was not part of MRF. But anyway, but that was good. Actually, if I would have gone to Pakistan, and probably I was not experienced enough because I had not played a lot of games for Delhi that time. I didn't have the confidence to hold my place in a first class team. And if they would have shoved me in an international team, I would have probably not done well, like what happened to Vivek Razdan. Vivek
Yeah.
also was a very good bowler, but he didn't have the number of matches under his belt to make that cut. So I believe always a bowler should play a certain number of domestic cricket matches before he's pushed up. So what happens when the team went? I didn't go to Pakistan, but that whole season I bowled, and I maybe in the next 5 games I got 40 wickets. Every game I was getting 5, 10 wickets. In the Ranji Trophy, and suddenly, and then the Dilip Trophy came before the tour of New Zealand and Australia, and again I played. So that my confidence was sky high, and the selector saw that okay, we need a bowler, and they picked me from that tour. And in fact, Vivek Razdan had taken 5 wickets in Pakistan, and he was also on the tour to New Zealand. And in the first match, I was played before him because the seniors could see that I was more ready than him to take that burden of a test match. So this is how it goes. And then uh, uh, I didn't play much because I got injured and there were a lot of things that happened. But I kept on playing in England. I played 12 years of county cricket, and that added my number of years playing domestic cricket for Delhi. I played almost 100 games for Delhi, and wonderful experiences. Uh, Unfortunately, in fact, people remind me more that I should have played more matches for India. I don't even dwell on it because I thought, probably because of my interest in various other things, and cricket being part of my life and not my life, I got what I deserved.
So what were those interests, if I may ask?
Anything, traveling, reading, interacting with people. I was a social guy. I used to just take a backpack when I was 18. I used to, to make extra money. I had a big ego, and I'm very proud to ask money from my dad. I used to drive a taxi in London when I was 18. I used to be a barman when I was 19. I used to be a bouncer in a nightclub in England when I was 20. So I've
That
been
was the
to
field helped you in.
I've been to 99 countries, so I'm a travel freak. So the various things. I mean, this list is used. So, and cricket also is my love and passion. But cricket does not override everything else. because there's no guarantee that you pitch everything and put all your chips in one thing and that will click. What if it doesn't click and you have not explored other interests in life? Then you end up being very frustrated in life. So I recommend everybody to be, multi-dimensional rather than unidimensional.
Right. Also, talking about your days when you were playing for India, and I'd heard about some of these anecdotes when you were sharing a room with Tendulkar, and you had this thing that if you'll do the laundry and all those stuff, I'll cook, like some things like that. So, do you have any memories of those times as well?
Well,
Any
yeah, yeah.
instance?
We shared a room playing for India a few times, because those days you had to share rooms. Now the players get their own room. Even in Ranji Trophy, they get their own room. It was a luxury for us. So, but yeah, Tendulkar, we spent good time in England together. And one year I was playing for Durham, and Tendulkar didn't have a contract that year, and he was getting bored in Bombay. He called me. At that time, Mumbai was called Bombay. So he said, "Okay, you come and stay with me." And I had a nice house, had a car. So we had lovely 1 month. We used to practice together, go out together, travel and play matches together. And that time, yeah, I said, yeah, I don't have a washing machine, so I used to go take all the clothes, give him to sit in the laundrette, wash the clothes, and I'll cook. You will clean the plates and all. So those were the time. And now I can't see any even IPL player doing all that. They'll carry their servants to England if they have to. Yeah.
So yeah, the great Sachin Tendulkar did dishes for you. That's a big thing, actually. I would say.
No big thing. I don't think so is a big thing. I think you should take pride in certain things you've done in your journey. Unless you've done those things, satisfaction is not the same.
Yeah, that's how the man was. Maybe he was so down to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. So also, you were a part of his first Test 100, and you also mentioned that you saw Virat Kohli grow in your initial days. So I'm sure it wasn't something extraordinary that you saw, or if you did, you must tell me. But did you see any spark in these players in their initial days? Any one thing you see that yeah, you see a player and you say, okay, there's something special going on here. So anything in both these cases?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, but that special thing everybody saw, like I told you about that game in Mumbai in Wankhede Stadium, the Irani Trophy, it was rest of India versus Delhi. And the team meeting we're discussing, and Madan Lal was the captain, and still I said because Tendulkar's name was emanating a lot. ये बड़ा अच्छा है. Bombay, they build up the players like Jaiswal
Yeah.
and all these players after that, Amol Majumdar. There's a chain of players when before they even play, there's a lot of buzz going around, because they get so many runs before. So Tendulkar was the same. So we were discussing, Manoj was there, he's 16 years old. How good he can be at 16 as a batsman. So we were not rating him much at that point. But I remember one shot I was bowling. No, Madan Lal was bowling and I was fielding in mid off. And Madan bowled a ball and Tendulkar hit the ball straight. And he used to play with a low grip and with a very heavy bat. And he punched it. And Madan couldn't stop it. Madipa couldn't stop it. And I couldn't stop it. And the ball raced. And Madipa looked at me and says, yeah, ye to theek khelta hai, ladka ye." And he got runs and he got picked for Pakistan. But we could see that he was special. But even when you are that special and you play for country, there's no guarantee. A lot of things have to fall into place: your fitness, your commitment, your head, and then how you grow with the game, because you have to go to Australia, South Africa, change your game, adapt, and you got to keep on doing, and at that level, and to dominate, and to be extra special every step is impossible. So nobody can foresee that. And the same I will tell about Virat Kohli. I saw when he came he was 12 years old. He came to the academy, and Rajkumar told me कि one guy बड़ा अच्छा लड़का है, बहुत special है. Because I said 12 साल का लड़का कितना अच्छा होगा. But I saw him playing at the end. But he was saying कि potential है कि he can play first class cricket. But at every step he was excelling. And we pushed him to play for Delhi, and I was selected for Delhi when I got him in the Delhi squad, because the Delhi selector was saying no, he's just played under 19, let him play a couple of years, and then we'll pick him for Ranji Trophy. I said no, he's ready. And then even in the first season itself, he made the mark and got in the Indian team after 2 years when he went to Sri Lanka. And then selector was Hirwani, so I was telling him we are special. So you have to convince earlier on. You have to push the talent also. Sometimes if there are not enough backers, the talent also fails because it just stagnates at some one point. Same thing happened. Shikhar Dhawan was very talented, but he couldn't take that step immediately, and he had to languish in the Ranji Trophy for a few years before he got his chance. So, but Virat was special. But every stage we pushed him, in a tough stage, he excelled. He excelled at every stage. So, and then the rest is history. The great players are like this because, and then you can see the maturity coming. You saw that impetuousness of Tendulkar. He was only 20, 21, but he's the main batting stay of Indian team at 21. And the money was coming in that financial environment. You have to keep your head balanced. You can't become over friendly with everybody. You have to focus with the game. You have to change your technique, various bowlers, and the downswings are there. So a lot of pressures are there. So to handle the pressure also, to win games. So this you can't see initially when you see a talented player. So if somebody says, okay, this guy is going to be a great, I will say he's lying through his teeth, because there are a lot of things that have to fall into place before you get the finished product.
Right. You mentioned, so as you've played for Delhi for so many years, and you mentioned now about how the culture of cricket in Mumbai is, you've seen it closely as well. So I had this question in mind, even today, you see the Indian cricket team, even at this point of time when MS Dhoni was the captain, he's from a great city, but most of the players are from Delhi. The top three, if you see Rohit Sharma from Mumbai, Shikhar Dhawan from Delhi, Virat Kohli from Delhi. So what is it in Delhi and the Mumbai system that it creates and gives us such big players? So what's your
This is
view?
I think the confidence you get from the culture of the city. One thing is this: the facilities also. Delhi has got even in schools and all, you get exposed to so many things which probably a 2 tier, 3 tier city or a up country boy will not get. The confidence, even when you see when they come to Delhi, they are in bit of awe, and the confidence is as it is. We are Punjabis, North Indians living in Delhi. We are boisterous. So वो थोड़ा सा transfer होता है game में भी, and then the competition is good, that people who come to the top have come through a large sample size. Almost 2.5 million. I mean, 25 million people live in Delhi. So if you are coming through the cream, and then when you are there, so of course the cream will be better than the rest. So and then the culture, that okay, when you see so many players have already made the cut, and selectors also see the way that immediately somebody does well for Bombay or Delhi or Karnataka, it catches eye of selector faster. Maybe a small town or small state boy has to do more to catch the eye. So this is the advantage of playing for a big metro city.
So even when you were the selector of DDC and you left, I'm not asking for anything controversial, but what do you think were the problems? Like you mentioned the advantages that a player had. Like if he played for Delhi, he would get into the limelight quickly. But I think with that there are some problems in the system as well, because with competition and so many people, there comes a lot of politics and problems. So
Yeah.
what were the primary problems you saw when you were the selector for Delhi, and which
Yeah,
made
the
you leave?
selectors have been the same, because Delhi ka kya hai ki, everybody's got the money, and and everybody's greedy. Then people who are desperate for jobs and DDC and all that at lower level, the selectors, if somebody bribes them or gives them some stuff to get the undeserving players, it's very easy to mend the to bend the system. Secondly, because everybody is connected here, bureaucrats, ministers, this or that, and in DDCA, all the guys running cricket, they want favors from various departments and all that, and create networking. So that one thing. Third thing is the age fraud. Delhi, if somebody, 17-year-old boy playing under 15, 21-year-old, 22-year-old boy playing under 19, that has been checked now. I mean, I'm so glad that slowly that menace is going away, because that was totally spoiling and destroying the Delhi cricket, because all the undeserving boys used to get in there, and then eventually those boys used to progress, and the deserving boys used to be left aside. So
Yeah.
whenever I become selector and they know that I've got no agenda, other people, I don't need this job, probably because I lose money being a selector, because I've got my other things to do in life. So unless Delhi has got like 2-3 players of impeccable reputation who don't need the job and only have the good, for Delhi, just to see the Delhi do well, we'll have to do it. Unless that happens, because somebody will find a way, this is how you select players. I hope that stops, but in junior cricket, it's very much there. In senior Ranji Trophy level, it's not as much there, but people try. And unless you are a strong person running it, they will find a way. Maybe they will not tinker too much with the 11, but the other boys, so some deserving boys will be left out and they will go away. So Delhi will lose the talent. So this is the problem.
So one
Okay.
question I really wanted to ask was the evolution of fast bowling that you saw. Like from your time, we didn't have a lot of bowlers who had express pace, and till today now we have we're if you compare with the other bowlers of the world, we are some of the fastest bowlers with Bumrah and Umesh Yadav and such players coming up. So how have you seen this art of fast bowling, or especially in India, if you speak, evolve over the years?
Yeah, but there were bowlers who would fall. I bowled fast for a couple of seasons, but there was no incentive of bowl. The wickets were dead, and then when the wickets were made for the batsman in India. When you used to go abroad, Kapil used to play, and one guy or third guy. When Srinath came, then we saw real pace at that time. There were no speed guns and all. But the fixation with speed also is overrated. Unless you have skills, you will not last. Only with speed, you will not last. But
Yeah.
and how many seasons you can bowl fast? That depends on the fitness. So generally, what happened in the last 7, 8, 10 years, the fitness levels of everybody has gone up a lot because it's become a profession. You can live off cricket. It was never used to be like this for us. We had to do another job. I used to work for Air India, and in the off season I used to go, and some people had to do something else, and we used to get together in the season. So how much you can incentivize somebody to really work, and then the specialist help. Now each state team has got five helpers. You've got trainer, you've got a physio, you've got a dietitian. Internationally in IPL also has taken the game to another level because you get specialized help right through the season. So all this has shown that our bowlers are getting very specific help in making your bowling muscles faster, and you looking after yourself, giving you enough rest, rehabilitation, all that. And that is why people are bowling faster. They are fresh. They know when is the peak, when is the down. So a lot of science has gone into it. And so it is unfair to compare our fast bowling before that, because West Indians were naturally fast bowlers because of their physique and their fast switch muscles. Caucasians, the Goras from South Africa, Australia, England were already fast. Pakistan was always fast bowler dominated because of their north frontier connection, because of beating beef when they were young and all that. So their bone density was stronger. So there are a lot of issues. But then now it's a level playing field. Everybody's working on their fitness. They've got enough money in the bank. They can only 100% think about how they're going to progress. Any problem, they go to NCA. Any technical problem, they go to the biomechanist. So all things, when your biomechanism is right and your fitness is okay, you will bowl fast and you will last longer. This is simple as that.
Great. So
Okay.
once you moved ahead in your career, you started your cricket commentary. I guess at that point of time when you started it, and if you compare it to today, there has been a change even with the advent of T20 cricket and IPL. How is broadcasting changed over the years? Because I'm all the questions that I'm asking, I think you would have realized is how things have changed because you've seen it from larger vision. You've seen it from a long time. So, how do you think broadcasting changed, and what were the changes? Did you have to make any changes, or was it an easy breeze for you? It was just like talking cricket, or you had to make some changes in the way you were commentating and all those things. So,
No,
how
I've
was
not
that?
done too much of. I'm not a very commentator. I talk about cricket in TV shows. I do analysis. I do reviews, previews, commentary. I've done radio commentary also, TV commentary, Hindi also, English also. But I'm not a professional commentator. I started when which was the first game. My debut as a commentator was the debut for Saurav Ganguly and Rahul Dravid, that match at Lords. That was my first match as a commentator. So and I had Jeffrey Boycott, Harsha Bogle, and Simon Hughes, and one more guy I don't remember. And those are the early days of TWI coming into India with IMG and all that. And it was just a start. A lot of people from that time progressed from radio commentary to TV commentary, and that was time where they realized that they don't have to talk too much because the picture is already there. You don't have to describe it. Like in radio commentary, you have to describe what is happening because the consumer cannot see. But TV commentary you can see, so you have to add to the picture. So there are certain templates, and everybody's got their own style, and that's why commentary is such a subjective topic that you can't say. If somebody says I like him, it doesn't mean the other person is not good, because it's like I like this restaurant's food and you like this restaurant food. You can't say this is bad, this is good. It's very relative how you consume, and then the formats also has given the independence of various people who are specializing in various formats. Because somebody like in T20 has become like a football commentary. You have to shout a lot, create the atmosphere and all that. Very hard. But you don't have to talk too much of. You don't have to talk too much about the technique, because there's no time, and the consumer is also not bothered about technique. In Test cricket, you can talk about a story. You can talk about this guy moved in point 5 feet backward point. There is a story behind it because the bowler is bowling around the stump. He's going to give the ball for cut. So you can build that story. There's a story in Test cricket. One day also seems a long game now. You have 50 overs, and so you can talk a lot. Earlier on, we thought that in one day there's not much time, but now with T20, we thought one day is a lazy Sunday. You can talk a lot in one day cricket also. So commentary per se is not there now with the media. You have shows, and then a lot of content is coming through the advent of technology, the kind of reviews and the kind of replays you see, the kind of angles you see, and a lot of things are added every year. So I think it's a work in progress, and we'll see a lot of changes coming. It's not that this is the best. Things will come which will excite us even more. So I think I got to go now. All right.
Sure, sure. One question, last question. This was it from my side as well. Just I wanted to ask one question. You have visited 99 countries. Which was the best place you visited?
Again, best is according to my mindset.
Yeah, according to
But
your
I
mindset.
can I can say about the countries which I have not liked, and the worst place has to be Bangladesh for me.
Okay.
Best is obviously India, but
After India,
you
maybe
know,
the best place,
depending.
like some
I love
specific.
Europe. Love Europe.
Okay,
I mean, and driving around Europe in the Italian Alps, is my favorite place.
great. Thanks a lot, sir. It was a
Okay.
pleasure
Bye bye.
hosting you.
Bye.
Great.
Bye.